Hey, do you want to be the antidote to all the doom and gloom? Join me as I come from my slice of life to help bring more joy into yours. This is the My Slice of Life podcast. Welcome to the My Slice of Life podcast. This week I'm asking, how prepared are you for the different stages of life? Now, it might not be stages that you're going through just now. You might be, like me, well past some of them, but maybe you have people near you going through them and you'll have to deal with that. So have you ever given it any thought? How can you prepare? Can you prepare for these? We're going to try and find out. Let's tackle it head on and see if we can come up with any solutions at all. I'm going to try and do it in sort of age order. Sort of. If everything went according to plan, this is kind of the way that we would go through all these. Of course, that isn't how it always happens, but as I was making my notes, I wanted to start kind of at the beginning where you get the biggest changes in your life. And I've started with puberty. Now, obviously, I'm well past it. Although when I listen back to episodes of this, I think my voice sounds not like how I hear myself at all. I think I sound like a child. I'm not. I'm 49, so I am well past puberty. But we do have somebody in the house who is right in the middle of this. So yeah, I remember it myself. I remember going through it. I remember all the raging emotions in your head, and you didn't really understand what was going on or why you felt the way you did. I'm really lucky that our son, although yes, we have the temper tantrums, if I can still call them that, we have the attitude, we have the moodiness, but we do have a son who is willing to talk to us, and I'm glad. And I think communication really is the key here. If things are really red hot and everybody's on boiling point, obviously walk away. Just say, hands up, we're going mental here, let's take a time out and we'll come back when we'll feel calmer. And one good thing that our son does do, he comes to us and says, can I ask you about whatever the topic is? He knows he can come and talk to us about anything, and I really like that. I really appreciate that. But if you are in the middle of this, if you are in this battle zone, give lots of reassurance, loads of hugs, remind everybody, including yourself, this will pass. This isn't forever. This is a stage that comes and goes. Lots of I love you. This is okay. We'll get through it together. That's how we're doing it. I'm not saying everything's rosy. I'm not saying every day is perfect. Far from it. But that's all I've got. What do you want me to say? That's all I've got. Just communicate, hug, cry if you have to. And if things get so bad, separate. Think of the wrestling match and go to your corners and wait until you're calm. That's it. That works most of the time. So after we've gone through that, I'm thinking, well, where do we go after that? And I came up with the whole college, uni, leaving home situation. Again, maybe you've been there and done that. Maybe you know somebody or have somebody in your family who's going through that or about to go through that. I did it. I went to college when I was younger. And yeah, I found it liberating and terrifying at the same time. As a parent, I've banned it. I've told him, you ain't leaving. That's it. You're staying here forever. Yes, total full-on helicopter parent, hands up, don't care. He's not leaving the house. I'm only joking. Yeah, obviously if that's what he wants to do. So that is something I'm thinking about. I have to try and prepare not just myself, but we've got to prepare our kids for it to the best of our ability. You don't want them leaving the house when they can't boil an egg, change a bed or iron a sheet or anything. So we send them on their way with the basic skills. If you can do advanced, brilliant. But I'm looking even just so they have the basic skills, like financial skills. Can they budget? Do they know how Do you know you have to save up? Money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, as a kid, things might have just appeared, but there's going to come a time where budgeting has to be discussed and taught. Social skills. Teach them to be a good communicator. And I think this is a really big one, they have to be streetwise. You cannot. I was naive as hell when I went to college, and it's not good. You try to do all your college work, and I wasn't streetwise. It took me a long time, and I'm trying my best to prepare. Some kids are naturally streetwise, our son isn't. I've seen a lot of kids who aren't, and you don't want to scare them. We're preparing them. Household skills as well. Can they cook? Can they clean? In other words, can they keep a house? They have to be able to keep a house. If you're not going to be there and they're living on their own, or even in a college dorm somewhere, they still need to have these skills. And we also need to help them with their character. We want them to leave the house with this, being the sort of person who can learn, who wants to learn, who is resilient, can overcome the obstacles, but have the self-confidence too. These are all things that we want. And of course, we want them to be a decent person. So these are all the things that when our son does eventually leave, I want him to have all of these good characteristics and more. But that's the basics that I'm looking at. And I keep telling myself that when he does leave, don't be all doom and gloom, because that's a hell of a good time for a big decluttering session. And I get a room back, or do I? I know a lot of kids go to college and they come straight back home afterwards, don't they? Yeah, don't empty the room too quickly. Let's not jump the gun. But you know where I'm going. You can declutter a bit. Another big life stage that I'm just going to mention briefly is marriage. Whether you're the one getting married or somebody you know is, or again, it could be your child. If it is your child, please remember, if you don't like who they're marrying, it's not up to you. It's their choice, not yours. As a parent, we have to back off. I mean, I can say that now because I'm not in that situation, and if it happens, I'll probably go mental, but I'll try and remind myself it's not my choice. I've been there. I've had people judging in this kind of situation. It's not nice. So, let's all back off and let people crack on. If they make a mistake, they'll learn from it, but it's their life and it's their mistake to make. On the other hand, you might love who they've picked. That would be brilliant. Isn't that what we all want? You want your kids to be happy, or your friend, whoever it is that's getting married, or you. We all just want to be happy. Let's say it's you. If you're getting married, the amount of change that you're going to have is going to depend on a few things. And most people live together now before they get married. So the biggest change really is going to be paperwork. Things like taxes and all the legal stuff, even your name. I could not believe the amount of forms I had to fill in, the amount of businesses I had to contact just to say, oh, by the way, I've got married, my name's changed. There's a lot of that. It can also be worth discussing expectations. Even if you live together, discuss your expectations of what you want life to be like as a married couple. If you have, for example, a lot of pals coming round, you've got a lot of friends coming round, say, Friday night, is that game night? Do you go out for a meal regular? Do you still want to have that kind of life as a married couple? So, discuss these things. Financial discussions and housework roles, they all need to be sorted out, and I would really suggest sorting them out before you get married. You get the foundations right, you're off and running. It'll be fantastic. Now, when I said earlier on about going through these in a certain order, I'm coming to becoming a parent, and I've put that after marriage. I wasn't married before I was a parent, so that's not where I'm going here. It's just the way I thought it through in my head. So, becoming a parent, nothing prepares you. That's the basic thing. I mean, you can be physically prepared. You can go to the antenatal classes, you can have the room ready, all the baby clothes, all that sort of stuff. But emotionally, nothing is going to prepare you for the tsunami of emotion that's about to hit you. And I say that it's not in a negative way. Just ride that wave and enjoy it. Just go with it. Don't expect that you're going to know everything. Don't assume that you're going to feel a certain way. I was a nightmare, I think, from what I can remember when I first became a parent. Oh, my emotions were crazy. I would be over emotional, especially actually when I was pregnant. I was so over emotional about things. I look back and I cringe. It was a nightmare. So you don't know how you're going to react, and there's also a lot of decisions to make, especially these days. I think do some research beforehand. Things like, breastfeeding. Are you going to breastfeed? By the way, I did, and I thought it would be it is the most natural thing in the world. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Nobody warned me about that. I wasn't prepared for that. I didn't realise it was a skill that had to be learned. Now, once I learned it, piece of cake. I did it for a long time, actually. But yet, it's something you have to learn, and I wasn't ready for that. Are you going to vaccinate? Not everybody does. Are you going to homeschool? Is it going to be public school? All these different things are decisions, and this isn't to overwhelm you. This is just things to think about, to be prepared for that life stage. The one thing I would say, if you are pregnant or planning on starting a family or somewhere in this life stage, don't listen to doomers. I'm going to say something here, and a lot of people won't like it. I say a lot of people, not many people listen to this, so I'm pretty safe. But I came to the conclusion when I was pregnant that if you want to find out how many women can be total, bitches, tell them you're pregnant. The reactions I had were not the ones I was looking for. Now, that could be people in my own family or people in the street, just conversations, that you have with people. There's something about certain women who go out their way to try and scare you or put you down or say, as if it's a bad idea. Don't listen to them. Do not listen to them. And if you are pregnant or you've just had a child or you're a parent and you want to laugh at my expense, go ahead, I don't mind. Go and find the episode. It's actually the bonus episode from season 1. That's all I'm going to say. You'll have to go and listen to it. I did something as a new parent which I was completely unprepared for. So you go and listen to that. Have a good giggle at me. It's fine. I don't mind. Now, the next big life stage I've put in is quite a jump from the last one. I'm putting in bereavement, and it's a touchy subject. I get that, and people are not comfortable discussing it, and I get that too. But it isn't something we can hide from. We can't lie to ourselves and say it's not going to happen, because it will. It happens to all of us at some point. We will be bereaved, especially as we get older, because as you get older, so does everybody else. Just a wee story about this. I was out for a walk one night. This is quite a while ago. Out for a walk one night with our son, and do you know, some shops put cards up in the windows announcing who's passed away, and I found out that way about 2 people that we knew. One pretty well, and the other one not quite so well, but we still knew him, and that's how we found out that they'd passed away, out on a dog walk. And that was a shock. It was a real shock. One was older. We kind of, expected it really, but the other one, I was walking around, on the dog walk, a little dazed after that, because I didn't know. I had no idea. So I was completely unprepared. And we can't really prepare for bereavement, and that's what I'm coming to. There is no easy way through this. It's a painful old road that we have to go down, but it's a natural one. Yes, it sucks. It's hellish, but there's no solution for it. You have to take your own path. Now, a lot of this will depend on your own beliefs. For some people, they have a strong belief in the afterlife, and that helps them get through it. Other people don't. So that will have a big impact on how you actually deal with it. But take your time. Don't try and rush yourself through it. And don't forget to look after yourself when you're going through that. It's so easy to, I'm not hungry. We don't eat. We neglect ourselves because we're so caught up in our own sadness. And that's painful. It is really painful. And things do gradually get better. It can take a long time. but you have to remember you don't forget the person, but you do get through it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that, because it's a very personal thing, but I didn't want to ignore it. Now the next stage is a very personal one, because I am smack bang in the middle of this. Perimenopause and menopause. Yeah, ta-da! Oh man, forgetful, moody, putting weight on, all the boxes are ticked. Was I ready for it? No. In fact, I didn't even know that's what was happening to me until I had a discussion with somebody and I was talking about how I couldn't remember the words for things, and she said, oh, that's one of the first signs of perimenopause. You can imagine the look on my face. I was not happy about it. I was not ready for it. I remember a time when we didn't even talk about this stuff, and now everybody's talking about it. It's weird, isn't it? The one thing I would say, I mean, obviously I am no, banging the microphone, I am no expert here. I'm going through it. I'm learning as I go through it. But the one thing I would say, maybe don't jump to HRT if you can help it. There are alternatives. I did get some natural tablets to try. It was like a free offer for a week. I tried them. Then I bought some for a month or two. I didn't really notice much difference, if I'm honest. Sage tea, apparently, is really good for the hot flushes. Rosemary is good for memory. I mean, there's just two natural things. A little bit of research. You'd be amazed what we can get naturally. But obviously, if you need help, you go and get help. And a big life stage is kind of continuous, but we don't think about it until we get older, and that is just aging. Are you prepared for that? Because I wasn't. I'm still not. I mean, when you're a teen, you can't wait to get older. When you're in your 20s, you think you're invincible. When you're in your 30s, things are good. You know, you're focusing on other things. I think when you hit 40 and you get into your late 40s like I am, and you start to feel a few aches and pains, you look in the mirror and you think, who the hell is that? I get that every single day. I don't know who that is looking back at me. It's not the face I remember. And it's a lot to get used to. It's a lot to adapt to. And I'm not ready. Are you? Are you prepared for that? It is a lot to get used to. I think the best thing we can really do is learn to accept the stage we're in and go with it. This is the part I'm at now. I'm trying to just accept it. So yeah, do you know what? You're going to be 50 next year. You're not going to have the face of a 20-year-old looking back at you in the mirror anymore. You have to accept it and learn to deal with it. I need to work on my diet. I know I need to exercise differently. I know I can't get away with eating the things I used to. But it's putting it all into practice, isn't it? It's easier said than done. But that's where I'm at. Where are you? Are you prepared for the life stage you are in right now? I hope I've given you some ideas, maybe some direction, if I can say that. But that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Please check out the links below. Big announcement. There is now a website. If you go to mysliceoflife.co.uk, the blog is there, the links are all there, or you can just stick with the links that are there below. It's up to you. So I hope you've enjoyed this week. Don't forget to click follow so you don't miss out another episode. Until next time, you take care of yourself.